Welcome to the Gruber Morning Show. I'm Pete Gruber.
I'm Mark Schaffner. Good morning and welcome to the podcast.
We have a very special guest with us today. His name is David Andreev, and he is working on a Tesla conversion project, also known as the Cyber Hooligan. Very active on
Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, on YouTube as well.
YouTube. Are you there, David?
I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you now. Yes. Excellent.
All right.
So we are curious, what is your background, David?
Are we going all the way back from the Stone Age?
You can if you want, or make it brief. Yeah, it's up to you.
I was from Ukraine myself.
Oh, really?
Came here,
okay.
In '87, and huge family on my mom's side, and moved to New York, and then ended up in Indiana, and short after that, we're here in California in Sacramento.
Okay.
And
all right.
been here ever since.
Excellent. So we had spoke last week, and you had mentioned that this is not building this Cyber Roadster is not your primary project, that you have a contracting business. Can you tell us a bit about that? And guys, if you can pop up a picture, there is a beautiful deck that David built that I want to show. It looks like cedar outside. But anyway, tell us about your contracting business.
It took a long time to kind of figure out what exactly I need to do. Stick to one, right? They say.
Right.
And became a contractor. Before I became a contractor, I was a framer, and then became a contractor. Got my General B license, and I was like, yes, okay, you know what? I'm going to do everything.
Right.
Started doing everything. Started grabbing onto anything I could, and that turned out to be kind of like hell.
Yeah.
And it was not easy. It was not easy because for every trade you need, certain tools.
Mm-hmm.
And so kind of took a step back, and I was like, you know what? I like framing. Let's go back to framing. So I specifically stuck to decks, perfected that. And it's been pretty good. It's been really good. I built a lot of decks. I've been specifically building decks for about 8 years now, only decks.
Really? Okay. Up in Sacramento area, California?
Sacramento, yeah, greater Sacramento.
Okay.
Went as far as the Bay Area in San Francisco and up to Lake Tahoe.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Seems like a good market up there for that sort of thing.
It is. And since, 2020, it drove all the money into Sacramento.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got a few questions coming in here. Let's see if there's anything that we can address right away here. We've got YouTube coming in, and our Niles in Denmark is joining us, but he said he overslept, so he's just waking up right now.
It might be that he's saying that we overslept because we started about 5 minutes late.
Oh, that's true, Niles. Yes. We've got technical issues today. One of our social media guys is out, and I had no idea until just now how vital every team member on this team is. We've got the editor right now who controls all of the electronics over there, trying to do questions and pop images up. So we'll do our best here. But, David, this is about you. We really want to give you some time this morning. This Cyber Roadster project has enormous interest, we found. We started to promote this a few days ago, and people are really fascinated by what you're doing. Tell us what got you into this.
Well, if you look back on my channel, it actually started from not this build, not the Cyber Roadster, the Cyber Prius. It was actually a Prius.
Okay.
I built, so basically I bought a Prius. It was crashed. It looked like somebody flew off the road, and there was no major structural damage. Just, everything was mushed up around the sides.
Crumpled.
So I was like, you know what? This is perfect for what I'm trying to do, because I'm going to take everything off anyway.
Yeah.
So I started off as Cyber Prius, and I'm like, this is going to look exactly like the Cyber truck.
Right.
And then about, I want to say 30% of the build, I kind of realized what I did a little mistake. I cut the Prius in half from basically in the mid. I took out the back seats and basically, duct taped it back together. And I started the build, started the front. If you look on my page, kind of go down, the front end looks exactly like a Cybertruck. It was really close. I did the lighting, I did everything, the hood, the bumper, the way the fenders come together. And by the time of doing, I want to say the fenders, I was like, yeah, I messed up because I cut the car too short. And if I made it look like a Cybertruck, it would look like a pyramid driving down the road.
Right.
So I was like, okay, that's fine. I
I'm gonna
can
pull that
still
up.
make this work.
Please.
So I made it into a open side by side for off-roading. It's lifted in the front 1 inch. It has some that one right there.
There we go.
It was really cool off-roading. Really cool car. And if you find the video of where we took it off-roading, that'll kind of show you the end result. But yeah, this is a Prius. This is a Prius C, 2014, right there. Yep.
Oh my God, look at that. That is crumpled. Yes. But I see what you're seeing. There's enough frame there. There's enough to work
it
with.
wasn't nothing major to where I need to cut anything or pull anything. I just took everything off.
Yeah. You're not going to want to put a Prius back on the road here, not with this much damage. Oh, brilliant.
I'll try and find the other video.
Okay. So it was the Prius build that actually got you interested in doing something more than that. And why did you select?
So basically leading up to that. So
Yeah.
I kind of, messed up, how I said I cut it too short, finished it. And basically that was only for off-roading. You can't drive that car on the road, especially in California. You'll probably get 10 years in prison for that thing.
Right.
So basically, I somewhat messed up and then kind of finished it and couldn't really do much more to that car. And I've had this idea in the back of my mind to do this with a Tesla in the beginning. And it was just, I didn't want to dump that kind of money into this, just to tear it all up and, do this build.
Right.
But then as time progressed, that it grew more and more and more that I had to do it with a Tesla. And I couldn't stop. I couldn't give up until I actually got a Tesla and did it. So
Right. So what kind of Tesla did you get? Tell us about that.
So it's a 2018. It was a long range Model 3, Tesla Model 3.
Okay.
And specifically 2018 is because the motors, when they made these Model 3s, the all-wheel drives, the performance and the long range have the same motors. It's specifically the rear motor. And if you know the right people, or I believe there's stuff you can buy online now where you can actually make it into a legit performance, obviously without the brakes, the red calipers. But everything else is performance. You got the track mode, you got, the really fast acceleration, and it's the, legit performance acceleration. I believe it's 3.2 for the 18 and then 3.1 for the 21s and up.
So you're basically saying that Tesla is giving you the full capabilities, but they have it locked, and there are people that can actually unlock this capability and put it into a performance mode.
It's like the Ghost module we were talking about on our last podcast, where they've got a kit.
And kind of the small downside is it's specifically to the 2018. There are some 2019s, but that's very rare. They kind of started to trickle away as they got into the mid 2019s. And you can actually find out if you have it. You look through the driver's side rear wheel, and it's the part number that's stamped on the motor. You can see it through the rear wheel.
Gotcha.
I don't remember exactly. I believe the last numbers are 89, something like that. I gotta confirm it, but you can literally just walk out and look at it, and you'll find out if you can do this.
Interesting. So, of course, it would affect. We're speculating that if you try to take this to a Tesla service center and it's been modified, they're going to have some heartache over that if they discover that you have modified something. But what you're building here, I don't think will ever go to a Tesla service center. Do you think?
I was joking about this. I was like, what if I made it into a video? They'd probably be pissed off if I tried this. Just make an appointment and pull up, maybe for like I don't know, a windshield repair or something small.
And they
Something
would
that they
scratch
don't
their
need
heads
to.
and go, "Is it the new Roadster? Is it a Cybertruck?" I wouldn't quite be sure, right?
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. So, so we've established you don't do this full time. My next question is, where do you find the time to do this?
That's a lot of people ask me that a lot. To be honest, I sleep very little. Constantly, I mean, I have no time to just sit down and do nothing.
Right.
Haven't had that time in a long time, actually. I have 3 kids, I'm married.
Hmm.
Um, I still got to pay the bills, right? So, the Cyber Roadster is not something that's, paying anything at the moment.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I do the construction and I do this build when I can. And on specifically Instagram, a lot of people say, "What's taking so long?"
Hmm.
But it's like you got to remember that I'm by myself. I'm doing this by myself. I edit everything by myself, even though obviously my videos are not the best, um, because it's mostly just a tripod and me talking. Um, and I just want to say to those people, try it.
And this is not a gigafactory with thousands of employees. This is me working part time on this project. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So, what do you find is the hardest part about this? By the way, can we throw some pictures of this thing? We've got
Well, real
few.
quick,
Yeah.
before we move on, I was gonna pull up that video. I found the off-road video.
Okay.
Oh,
all right.
yes, please.
Let's do the off road video. You bet. All right.
This was 3 of us off-roading. It was somewhere near South Lake Tahoe. And there's no speed limiter on this thing.
Right.
So it is quick. It's like a Prius on the streets.
Wow.
And surprisingly, this thing was really good off-road. You would think, because it's just a front-wheel drive, but it is front heavy.
Uh-huh.
Most of that weight is in the front with that smaller battery that's in the rear. So yeah, that
Thing
thing
is
was
so
pretty
cool.
good off-road. It surprised me.
So this might inspire an off-road version of the Cybertruck if Tesla is watching. This looks like too much fun. I mean, obviously with a Cybertruck, you can go to Home Depot and get some lumber or something like that. But it seems like off-roading would be just as much fun, if not more.
Ben, which now
Yeah,
you
it
say you
was
wanted
pretty cool
images?
actually.
Yeah, we've got a few images here. Probably the starting with the Cyber Roadster 1. And my question to you is, what kind of material are you using? Is this aluminum?
No, this is AKDQ steel, aluminum killed steel. It's 19 gauge. It's specifically for automotive paneling.
Ah.
And it's it can rust,
Mhm.
but it's specifically for this, and it prevents it from rusting like you would if it was just raw sheets of steel.
Right.
This I actually did this yesterday. That last picture, that was yesterday.
Okay.
I was in the shop for probably, I want to say, 9 hours, and maybe 8 of those hours I was just grinding.
Right, right. Now we see that you use a lot of blue tape, and you will
Yeah.
actually outline the body panels. Tell us what the strategy there is. Are you making templates, or what's going on there?
So the reason for the blue tape is, and a lot of people had something to say about this as well. Why don't you do like a 3D model or some kind of drawing or something on the computer? And we all know, like, for example, if we see a concept car on pictures, and then you see it in person, it makes you feel completely different because it's the size of the car, the height of the car. Um, yeah, I had some drawings that I did. I thought I knew where I was going at first with the quarter panel, and then so the only way you will know exactly if this works for the car you need to see it in person, like to give it its own skin. So that was the reason for the blue tape. Put some blue tape, do this, do that, like kind of change some of the frame, put on the blue tape, and it completely changes the car. So blue tape I used, I believe, close to 50 rolls of tape.
Oh, and that stuff is not cheap anymore, man.
No.
Yeah, it's not like
It's,
masking tape. It used to be 97 cents a roll or something like that.
Yeah, and that's the frog tape, so it's expensive.
Oh boy.
I got to reach out to those people.
Yeah. So this drives now. I saw one of the videos. You were actually moving this around, driving.
Yeah. Oh,
Is that right?
it drove since basically day one. Well,
Okay.
I got the car. It was crashed at first. I had to fix it. I had to basically fix it for it to drive. I registered the car, put everything together. I didn't paint it. There was like kind of couple different body parts, color body parts, and that was the idea. Basically, imagine if I was to go and try to register this thing in California right now. They'd be like, "Are you crazy?"
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the idea is basically I registered it, then I start to build, and it's a small modification, right? The car's
Very tiny.
registered, it
Yeah.
can drive.
Yeah. They won't even notice it. Yeah.
And everything's going to be street legal. It's all going to have the original lighting. The headlights are original, on the tail lights, because they work off of one LED strip. It's like, what is it, like 2.5 inches wide. Take that out of the tail lights, and that's going to be under my Cyber red light in the back. So all the lighting is going to be pretty much original. I'm just adding to it.
Okay.
Now, what is it?
Obviously, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. When I started watching through your videos, which I found to be incredibly fascinating, I'm thinking, okay, this is an auto body parts professional guy, because I mean, just watch, you pull everything off on day one, and you do your disassembly, you get your wheel on, and man, I thought you were going to catch that trailer on fire with all the smoke that I saw from that wheel. But then I find out you're in construction. So where's your experience from automotive come from?
So if anybody who's in the Slavic community, they know, for some reason they all mess with cars. We all start from super smashed cars, and then we realize, okay, that's not smart. We start moving on to less beat up cars, and we fix them. So I've been working on cars. I've been in construction since I was 13. I've been working on cars since I got my driver's license. I was almost 17. So from my first car to up until now, I want to say I had probably close to 70 different cars that I fixed, and they were nothing obviously like the Cyber Roadster. It was something that I bought from the auction, fix it, and it was mostly like a side hustle, make some money on the side. Sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose, and you learn a lot, from cars. You come to find out that it's like Legos for adults. I love it. It's fun. And then the Cyber Roadster is the first time I've ever done something of this magnitude.
So somewhere in your description, you even mentioned another brand. We've got Cyber Truck, we've got the new Tesla Roadster, but you also mentioned Lamborghini. Now, I can see some design elements there, but where did that third brand come from that you're inserting in this car?
So basically, a mix of Cybertruck and Lamborghini was the first, I want to say, first idea of this Cyber Roadster build.
Okay.
If you look at the design, like for example, where the shoulder comes down into the hips, the rear hips, that kind of gives it a Lamborghini vibe. There's little subtleties here and there, but I wanted to make it its own, kind of point in the direction of Cybertruck. Obviously, Cybertruck is just, it has no style, straight, looks crazy. It's going to look crazy when it's on the road.
You know,
Um,
the closest picture we have, Cyber Roadster Dash 1, Jesse, if we can pop that up, that to me reminds me, it's got that Lamborghini vibe, you know, the wide stance on the rear wheels, the fender flaring out a bit. If we can pop up that image, maybe we can corroborate that that's what you were going for here. And by the way, your welding skills are phenomenal. Yeah, I've been watching your progress here. So this is the rear. Is this kind of more the Lamborghini look that you're going for?
you see up there, so right here, if you look at this picture, you're gonna say this has a little bit too much lines, too much design, but you need to kind of look at this as it's finished painted.
Hmm.
You're not going to see most of these lines in this body. So when you stand, if you look at this in a like the front quarter view,
Hmm.
it looks like almost, I want to say, like robotic shoulder pads on this car. That's
Right.
what those rear hips look like. And when I first did that, I was like, you know what, that's going to look freaking cool, you know. And then the way the roof pillar kind of goes into that, I want to say, shoulder pad. Um, it's kind of hard to see this, in pictures what it really is. You need to see this in person.
Hmm.
Once this is done, it's insane. This car is, I want to say, almost 6 inches wider than the Lamborghini Huracan, and the roof line is actually lower.
Really? Okay. Now, how do you intend to finish the car in terms of glass? Somewhere you mentioned that you're going to have 3 glass panels there. Can you talk about that a bit?
So the front, the windshield is going to be the original with the
Hmm.
cameras. The top glass is original. It's the one that when it gets wet, it becomes red. It becomes like a hot orange color. You know what Tesla does. That's going to be for the roof, and the rear. There's two pieces that's going to go on the rear. So the one that's flat down, there's going to be these huge red fake batteries that are
Uh-huh.
going to light up Tesla behind glass. That's what I got going on for that bottom part, and there it's going to be seen. I already have everything to do that. I'm just focused on the finished part itself, and then that rear glass is going to be. It's kind of at a slant. It's kind of hard to see it in the picture. It's almost 8 inches tall, and the width I think it was like 28 inches. It could be wrong. Been doing a lot of measurements on this thing lately. Don't really remember.
All right, real quick, I'm gonna pull up a video.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have one of the comments cut off because it's not a so nice comment. I see what you mean when you're talking about people saying just finish your projects. So let me pull this up.
Mhm.
Well, they're impatient. They're
Yeah,
impatient with Tesla
no,
too. Yeah, yeah. You're not the only one that they're impatient with, so don't worry about it, David. Oh, there we go.
see now there's the front, with the windshield, all that stuff. So it's cool.
You've got quite a project on your hands there, David. You can tell. There's a lot of fabrication there.
And the brainstorming is pretty much done.
Hmm.
There's really not much left of brainstorming to do.
There's another video, Jesse. It's in a link in a text file called the Hammer video. If you can bring that up. In the meantime, I want to share with the audience that I watched some of David's other videos, and David, you have an amazing sense of humor. The wine video got me too. But
Oh, that's something that I did years ago, and it's just
yeah,
I found it on my phone and I was like, hey, I'm gonna post this.
Well, this one did really well. It's got 900,000 likes. Let me pull this up here.
really. Wow, almost 1 million likes on this
Are
one.
are you talking talking about the hammer?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, there we go. And I'm thinking to myself, this guy is so talented. And then somebody in the audience picked up on what's going on here. And I thought, oh, okay, why didn't I catch that myself? So should we give away the secret here, David, or you want to do that?
Yeah, it takes years of talent.
Refining, yeah.
Um,
Practice.
Yeah, it's crazy. This video actually got the most views out of any video that I have right now on Instagram. It has almost 59 million views
Amazing.
on this video. It's been shared.
There's the
Um,
yeah. There's some numbers. 933,000.
3.1 million times it was shared.
Really? Okay. All right.
So people tend to like this kind of stuff. I don't know. Maybe I should do this more often.
That's true. You could probably turn this in. You know, we have other YouTube influencers that you know, we've contacted, we're affiliated with, that are in our space, and some of them end up going full time doing this. You can monetize to that level at some point in time.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, if you're getting paid for this, and if it can pay the bills,
Yeah.
who the hell wouldn't, right?
Sure.
Now you had mentioned that I guess Instagram is not treating you as well as some of the other platforms could. Is there any monetization?
No. I don't want to. I definitely don't want to. Kind of. I want to say badmouth Instagram, but I did notice some things. For example, once I started the Cyber Roadster build, I went from 3,500 followers to about 200,000 in I think it was like 2 weeks.
Really?
It was insane. Yeah, it was just blew up, and it was a constant, steady rise. And then the weird thing is, I don't know if we should even talk about this, but you remember the Elon Musk Twitter files?
Yeah.
Once that started to hit the show, started to hit everywhere. All my videos hashtag Elon Musk. Right when that happened, I noticed it pretty much just froze. The unfollower, how do you call it? Interaction. It disappeared.
Amazing.
So why is that, right? And kind of sucks for me.
There is an element of mystery in all of this, and we find the same thing. We were cruising along on YouTube, getting a decent amount of subscriber builds every week, and we did a video, and we had a copyright claim, and it wasn't even our fault, it turns out, and it was cleared fairly quickly and all that. But then we spent 6 months in the doldrums. Do you remember that? We were just going nowhere, going sideways.
A lot of damage done by that copyright claim.
Yeah. And so there is an element of mystery in all the social media stuff. We're still trying to figure it out ourselves. So I know what you're experiencing. But
yeah, there's some unfairness there for sure.
Yeah. Your YouTube channel is about 21,000, I think it is right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that growing okay for you?
Yeah, it's growing. Definitely, I notice the more you post, the quicker it grows. Yeah, it's growing. It's definitely steadily growing. I think it was when I remember who it was. It was a automotive page posted me, and I actually gained like 2,000 subscribers in one day. I remember. I don't remember exactly who it was because once the first one did it, there was a bunch of other ones that did it, and they pretty much copied and pasted their story. But I believe it was Carbuzz, maybe. Carbuzz was one of them, and then everybody had it. I was actually on CNN too, I believe.
Were you? There you go. Yeah. Fascinating. So everybody asks, at least that I've seen, do you have any scaling plans? Are you going to continue to build these once this is done? Are you going to become a competitor to Tesla, building a new Tesla Roadster Cyber combination?
I'll say this. If it all comes down to, not going to beat around the bush. It all comes down to money, right? If I got the money, if I can monetize on this, I'm going to do this till I die.
There you go.
I have endless, ideas.
Right.
And it is, it comes down to money. It really does. And I do have one more build after this, which will eclipse what I'm doing here. And it's going to be with the Tesla as well.
So for those of you that are angel investors out there in our audience that find that this young man has a great idea, this might be something that you might want to invest in. You know, this isn't the first time this has happened, David. There was in the last century, there were some builders in the old muscle car space that would take, particular body styles and just take them over the top. And they did quite well, and they got investment money, and they started to make cars like this. Now, it'd be interesting to see if you were able to compete with Tesla on something like this.
This car right here, if I wanted to reproduce this,
Yeah.
basically it would from this point on be 3D printed. I can get it scanned and 3D printed.
Mhm.
And let's say if I was to get these, I want to say it would be the quarter and the top, probably 3-4 pieces. I can replicate this in a matter of 2.5 months. That's by myself if I had those pieces. Now, if I had people with me, that'd obviously go a lot faster.
Right. Yeah. Or you do what Tesla does, which is go to Italy and find a giga press and start stamping out stuff like this.
It would definitely be beneficial to do this with fiberglass or carbon fiber. And that's another thing. There's a lot of people point out that I'm using metal.
Mhm.
And I did my own calculations. What's the weight of this metal? So, if I was to use fiberglass versus the metal, the difference would be roughly 40 pounds.
Not that much.
So
Wow.
it's really not that much. People think they see it, it looks like a hunk of lead. You know what I mean? But this metal is pretty thin. If you take a piece of metal, you just bend it with your hands, and it stays that shape, that form. And some really, really good stuff easy to work with. That's why I decided, you know what, I'm gonna work with this metal. It's really easy to shape, and 40, 50 pounds, that's really not much to speak of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
the windshield weighs almost as much as all that.
Is that right?
So
Another question I have for you. I saw on some of your earlier videos you had put a ludicrous Model S bumper on the back, but it looks like that bumper has disappeared now in later iterations. What happened there?
So, putting that bumper on the it was from the new Model S. The new Model S, they have a slightly different. There's some changes to it. The diffuser's slightly different,
Mhm.
and I had a Model S last year, the new one, and I absolutely love the way that car looks. That's one of the best, in my opinion. That's one of the best, sleekest cars on the road. It kind of reminds me of the Aston Martin in some ways. Uh, every time I see it on the road, I love it. I love everything about it. The rear end. So I was like, okay, the front end is from the same car. If you guys don't know this,
Mhm.
on this Cyber Roadster, it's from the 2021 Model S. So I was like, okay, let's do the back with the same bumper. I got it. Started to mess with it, put it on different angles, and that thing looks like a absolute, almost like a truck. How long that bumper is, you don't realize how long that bumper looks. The rear end on the Model S is super long. Sorry. And I was probably within a few seconds of starting to cut that bumper up, to make it fit to the body. And I was like, you know what, I don't think it's going to work. I really don't think it's going to work because it looks too subtle for this car. It looks, it's going to close off a lot. And then another major thing that jumped at me when I was working on the rear bumper is the way it had my body. And then when I would put the bumper on, I hide the major feature of the car, which I absolutely love. I don't know why people said this. If you look up rear bumper delete, people take off bumpers to make turbos fit. And people say, well, you don't have turbos. It's about the rear wheels coming out, when you're driving behind the car. And so I was like, okay, I need to try and make that work. How can I do that? And what you do, basically, what I have been doing literally I drive as I'm driving around, and I did this for other parts, lighting in the back as well. As you're driving down the street, you start to look at cars completely differently. When you do this, you look at cars completely differently. And there's some cars you'll look at them and you're like, what the hell were the engineers thinking, making it so disgusting? But not to hate, but it's like
Yeah.
that's how you start to view other cars. And how I did the rear bumper, the way I do have it now, is the FRS, the GT86, or the Subaru BRZ. That car, small little sports car. It's actually a pretty narrow car compared to this. I remember seeing a BRZ driving, and I was like, that would be pretty cool if I took that and I used that huge black space as the diffuser, because their diffuser, it's black, but it kind of just goes down. It's very subtle, but that part is blacked out. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go buy one. Let's go buy one, see what I can do with it. You put it on the car, and it's pretty funny how narrow it is to this car. I had to actually open up, cut the bumper in half and open it 15 inches to make it fit
Wow,
to
really?
the wheels, a whole 15 inches. And so what I did was I outlined where the diffuser starts and where the bumper kind of goes up to where the trunk area is. And I took I don't remember what the tool was we use in school. It has a pin with a marker, and I just marked it all along the rear bumper, got that shape, that specific shape, cut that out, opened it up 15 inches. And at first glance, I was like, oh my God, that's it. I got to do that with the wheels exposed. So something you've never seen before, because the rear bumper, it goes kind of like under the wheel. And then you look above that, and the rear wheel is almost a whole wheel, probably like 85% of the rear wheel is exposed. You're going to see it from the rear.
Mm-hmm.
And as I put that rear, whatever was left at that rear bumper, I was like, that's it. That's what I'm going to do.
It's I think you're on the right track there, David. Yeah, as you can expose those rear wheels, especially if they're wide, that has, again, that Lamborghini or that supercar vibe, versus
Yeah.
a sedan where you can't see your rear wheels from behind.
Yeah.
Now, I haven't seen, having not seen all the videos yet, where have you decided to put the charge port?
It's going to be right behind the license plate, which
okay.
has its shortcomings in terms of supercharging. This car will supercharge. Let's see, when Tesla finds out about this car, sees this car, are they going to attempt to, or are they going to allow the supercharging? Right. I didn't mess with any of the wiring. I didn't mess with that. That was number one thing. I could have, obviously, but I was like, you know what, not on this. There's nothing wrong with this electrical. I'm not going to mess with it. And the weird thing is how rigid these wires are, for the charge port. They're really thick, super thick. Excuse me. And when you where the charger is, once you move it, it's super hard to bend it to where exactly you want it. And it turns out that it works perfect, right behind the license plate. And as I was saying, shortcomings is the supercharger will not reach if you're on that designated spot. So the only way to supercharge is I would have to take up 2 spots, drive up, smack dab to the center of the supercharger. So that's the downside. But this car will supercharge. The way I have it set up right now, I can actually go to the supercharger right now. And I was actually going to do a video like that with the car completely pulled apart. And some people told me, and I kind of thought about it. not to do it, because imagine if Tesla was to see the car completely disassembled and I come up to the supercharger and plug it in.
Safety
They'd
issues.
go nuts.
Yes. Yeah, they
Yeah,
would. That's
yeah.
true. And it'll probably go viral. So yeah, you're right. That was probably a good
Yeah,
choice.
yeah, and that was the main reason, make it go viral. But is
Right.
this a good way? So I was like, I decided against it. I'll supercharge it once the car looks nice and complete.
A complete car. Yeah, there you go. Painted and
Yeah.
everything. That reminds me of a funny story. When you said that you're going to have the charge port behind the license plate. 30 plus years ago, I bought one of my favorite cars, a 69 Plymouth Roadrunner. And I was driving it home. I had just purchased it and I realized, man, there's not enough gas in here to get home. So I pulled in a gas station and I start walking around the car and I'm saying, where is the gas tank? Couldn't find it. Well, this old timer walks over. Remember, this is 30 years
Yeah,
ago. I was
yeah.
young back then, so
Yeah,
I was an
okay.
old guy, right? He says, "Oh, it's behind the license plate. Just flip it down." And sure enough, that was where I needed to put the gas. But yeah, that reminded me of that. We've got a bunch of questions coming in. We can entertain a few of them here. We've got YouTube. Igor
Sure.
Koski. He's saying YouTube pays the least. Do 1-minute videos, and you can actually make as much for the long videos. Okay, good advice.
Yep.
One of our regular viewers from TikTok, Van Goatwagon, welcome back. He says, Master Hammer Baiter. So he liked your hammer.
Which video was that?
YouTube, Trucker Alistair is another regular visitor on our shows, and he says, the Matrix guys and a third agent. Greetings from New Brunswick, Canada. Welcome, Trucker. Do you want to read some?
Sure. On YouTube, Davil says, what a great show. And then Van Goatwagen, one of our regular contributors as well, says, the Myers Manx 2.0, haha, tape twice, cut once.
All right.
And then Trevor Galbraith on LinkedIn. This is one of the questions that we get on a regular basis. Why are you all wearing shades indoors? Are you worried about retina mapping and recognition? That's kind of a new theory too.
We're definitely going to add that to the frequently asked questions list. And that's one of the things we've been doing, David, as we collect these sunglass questions is we're going to eventually do a video and we'll have an FAQ section on our website that, and it's entertaining because, yeah, there's some pretty good comments there. Again, I have to say this over and over again, but David, you're going to like this. I always wear these when we're doing videos over in a service center. And somebody at one point pointed out, man, he sure moves fast for a blind man. Which, by the way, if you need any technical advice, Gruber Motor Company, we tear down stuff all the time. We work mostly on Roadsters and out of warranty Model S's. We've seen a few Model 3s. But, yeah, we do have some parts, and we may be able to help you at certain points.
Now, another question that I happen to have, has the online attention that you've been getting, especially now that, it seems like the press started to pick this up this spring, so you're getting a lot of attention on Instagram, the press articles, has it been helping or affecting your construction business at all?
No, actually.
They don't
I try to
connect it-
keep that separate, completely separate.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
Okay.
For example, if you know where to look, you're going to find all my personal info. Maybe I shouldn't have said that, but I just want to keep that. These days anybody will
separate.
find you if they
Yeah.
want to.
Yeah.
But if you need a deck, hey, I'm here.
All right, all right,
Sure.
we'll give it a little plug. And by the
Sure.
way, I just based on the pictures that I pulled down, David does superb work. Yeah, take a look at some of these. This is some.
I've
great-
been a perfectionist pretty much all my life.
It shows. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, the excellence in your work from Wave Construction, actually, it definitely shows.
And you know what? You really don't have to advertise very much when you do that type of work because you get word of mouth, and excellence like this is always rewarded. Yeah, look at this. Now, did you do any welding here? I see some steel cables in the banisters and in the rails.
Yeah, this is where my welding skills came into play.
Gotcha.
So the railing, this is actually when we come on the job, this is actually all custom built to the deck itself. So basically, the posts, we first the post plates get bolted onto the deck, then basically weld from ground up, and then all these yeah, this is all completely custom right here. And then before we pull the cables through, this is all painted an automotive black.
Okay.
That
Very,
is amazing.
very durable. Yeah. And it looks like you got turnbuckles there. You can tighten those slats in between, and
Yep.
very nice. Yeah. Excellent work.
Now, have commenters on some of your videos at all influenced any of your design or build choices as you've done your build?
You know what? I would be lying if I said no. It did give me some ideas, I
Okay.
want to say, subtle, but I would say, yeah, some comments, even though reading comments is definitely, I should say, you shouldn't be reading all your comments.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
With a project like this, though, you create a community, and people become they feel like they're part of it. And yeah, I think that there would probably be a lot of suggestions that come out of this, not all of which, of course, you'll want to respond to or
Yeah.
put into play.
And most is very positive. And there, from time to time, there's going to be somebody that just wants to piss somebody off. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Right.
Sure. Now, we have a question that just came in from a regular contributor, Crunch to Grace Hopper. She says, I'd like to test the rise my Mazda RX-8. What does David suggest for those that are in the same boat?
RX-8.
Yes.
Well, the main thing is the powertrain, obviously. But if you want to make it look more like futuristic, it all comes down to the lighting. Simple as the lighting. That's where it starts, and then goes on to the body.
Interesting. Do you see major challenges in the drivetrain conversion?
I don't honestly. I don't think so. I don't think so. Well, why I say that is because I'm comparing this to what I'm doing here, and I don't think it would be as hard. It's going to be quite a job, though. That's for sure.
Well, we get asked this all the time. I've got a 69 Torino, and I want to electrify it, and I want to put a Tesla Model S drivetrain in it. And, there's an enormous amount of fabrication that takes place. You got a transmission tunnel. You've got where you're going to put the batteries, for example. It's not quite like the Model S where you've got a cutout for that 1,200-pound battery pack. But nonetheless, you can see it coming. It's going to be a huge industry, converting ICE engine cars to EV and putting EV drivetrains in there.
Oh yeah, 100%. Definitely. It's, for example, anybody who's, driven a Tesla for the first time, you remember that experience, and you're instantly hooked. And same thing with me. The first time I drove a Model 3, performance Model 3, I was like, oh my God, is there something like this? I was completely hooked. And I've been a Tesla guy ever since. EVs are definitely going to take over. And I think the takeover didn't even start yet, to be honest, because people just don't realize what they are. A lot of times people told me, I seen some comments, people say, electric car guys, they don't have a soul, or just, we don't know what we're talking about. We're not car guys, right? Well, drive a Tesla, drive a performance Model 3. It's going to give you a rush that a very small amount of gas cars can give you. You know what I mean? So it's like, if that's our future, then oh my God, get rid of gas cars right now.
Yeah, one of the most successful things that Tesla showrooms did was allowing people to take test drives with their vehicles. They sold themselves.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's for sure. 100%.
Yeah, I've got some friends that are very much into the traditional ICE engines and stuff. One of them gave me a comment recently that says, "You know what you call the Ford Mustang Mach EV, the Mach E electric vehicle?" I'm like, "No," and he says they call it a gelding.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's the same type of thing.
Yep. There's some naysayers left, but boy, the conversion's happening quickly. Well, David, so it sounds like you're making progress on this. I won't ask you when it's going to be completed because everybody does, but in the meantime, yeah, it looks like you're doing some great work with this.
Thank you.
So, yeah, the so we already talked about what you're going to do in the future. You may want to replicate and continue depending on the amount of investment available. So any of you out there listening, here's a young man that has a great idea, and it looks like his design skills are top notch. He's a perfectionist. He's definitely a wonderful fabricator. One of the things I'd suggest once you get rolling, or if you go into production on this, carbon fiber works well too. That's what the Tesla Roadster is built out of. Not
Yeah.
necessarily for weight savings, but just from a fabrication standpoint. Once you build those molds, you just replicate from there.
Yep. Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to share with our audience before we close here?
I'm actually planning on possibly doing a giveaway on this car.
Really?
When
Tell
I'm
us
Really?
about that. Yeah.
It's a possibility. It's an idea for now, but it's going to be specifically from my highest amount of followers. It's going to be from Instagram.
Okay.
But like I said, it's just an idea for now. If I can make this car fund my next one, then I'm going to do it.
Well, there we have it. So
There we
there's a plug. Yes, those of you that are watching, there's a potential for a giveaway on this car once it's done, and it looks like it's off to a really cool start.
Yeah, it's
Pull up the
definitely,
shorts.
and it's obviously going to be street legal. Everything's going to, I'm even going to, I'm attempting to make the autopilot work because this car does have FSD. Somebody paid for it before I bought it, and when I turned it on, I was like, oh crap, this has FSD, so I have to make that work.
Right.
We'll see how that goes, but I think I'm headed in the right direction.
Wonderful. All right. Well, we'd like to invite everyone to join us again tomorrow. Tomorrow is our Tesla Roadster podcast, and it's not limited to just Tesla Roadsters, but we cover a lot of topics that are related to that. And then Thursday at 10 a.m. again is the general EV broadcast like this. We are planning other guests like David, interesting guests that have something to offer and something to communicate. And we really appreciate you joining us, David. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you
Thanks
so
for
much,
having me.
David.
And for those of you watching, thank you. We'll see you tomorrow if you choose to watch us on the Tesla Roadster podcast.
Have a good afternoon.
Thank you.